I'm coming. Just like that. Get the roots on there. And then you make some space. Dig. Do this. Dig. Yep. Then we push it in there. And then there you go. Which one you want to do next?
That one.
This one?
This one.
Okay. There you go. This one's a big one. So squish, squish, squish. Okay. What color is that?
Pink. Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Purple. 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 And yellow.
Yeah.
Yay.
Don't put it on your face.
Oh, this is a ladybug.
It's a lady. See, it's not bothering us. It's not gonna mess with us. Plot. We're gonna pot our flowers, okay? It's okay. I'm right here. I am right here. You excited? Got it?
I did it.
We did it.
Yeah.
Wow. You did it, Shasha. You picked the pretty flowers. Okay?
Happy grow.
Yep.
If he really saved you, then it should show. Not just in your shout, but in your steps. Not just in your praise, but in your patterns. Not just in your worship language, but in your weekday living. I said, if he saved you, you may not be sinless, but you ought to sin less. You may not be perfect, but you should be progressing. You may not be flawless, but you should be fruitful. You may not be finished, but you should be faithful. I said, church, if he saved you, you ought to fight differently. You ought to talk differently. You ought to walk differently. You ought to think differently. You ought to date young people differently. You ought to spend differently. You ought to lead differently. You ought to parent differently. You ought to love differently. You ought to forgive folk differently. You ought to suffer differently. You ought to grieve differently. You ought to worship differently. Can I give y'all some more?
See you later.
That was just the beginning. I got a whole lot more. Let me help you shout real quick before I let you go. If he really saved you, watch this. You may stumble, but you won't stay there. You may cry, but you won't die there. You may fail, but you won't build your house there. You may struggle, but you won't surrender there. Tell them, Brother Salary, you may bend, but you won't break there. You may be weary, but you won't worship your weariness. You may get attacked, but you won't abandon your assignment. You may face pressure, but you won't forfeit your pressure. Tell them, Brother Salary, I'm trying. You may get shaken, but you won't stay shattered. You may feel weak, but his strength will still speak. You may know pain, but you won't remain in chains. You may face some fire, but you won't lose your desire. Tell him, Brother Salary, you may face night, but morning will still shine bright. You may be tested, but you won't be totally terminated. You may get tired, but you won't be spiritually denied. You may get knocked down, but you won't stay on the ground. Tell them, Brother Salary, I'm trying. You may lose some folk, but you won't lose your purpose. You may cry some bitter tears, but you won't live your life in fear. You may have some scars, but scars are proof that you've survived the war. You may feel forgotten, but heaven still has your name written down. Tell them, Brother Salary, you may walk through some valleys, but valleys are not your permanent address. You may have dark chapters, but your story still ends in victory. You may have some setbacks, but setbacks are not your final setup. You may be bruised, but you're not being used. Tell him, Brother Salary, I'm just getting warmed up, Brother Jonathan. You may feel broken, but broken things in God's hands still become blessing. You may feel empty, but God still feels hungry hearts. You may have questions, but you don't have to quit. You may not understand the process, but trust the God that controls the process. Tell him, Brother Salary, you may feel delayed, but delay is not denial. You may feel stretched, but stretching is how God strengthens. You may be pruned, but pruning means fruit is coming. You may be under pressure, but pressure often produces purpose. Tell them again, Brother Salary, you may feel isolated, but isolation is not abandonment. You may have to fight tears, but joy is still coming in the morning. You may lose a battle, but the war has already been decided. You may get discouraged, but don't let discouragement become your disobedience. Tell them, Brother Salary, you may get tired, but tired is not finished. You may feel weak, but weak people still serve a strong God. You may have a hard season in life, but hard seasons still produce holy strength. You may feel overwhelmed, but greater is he that is in you. Tell them, Brother Salary, you may be carrying heavy burdens, but burdens were never meant to bury you. Watch this. And you may feel like giving up, but God didn't bring you this far just to leave you here.
I wanted to share that, as you know, I'm on this walk with God and I take it very seriously. And truthfully, God has been working with me with becoming more bold and sharing my faith, becoming more outspoken and less timid when it comes to sharing the gospel, sharing the word, and really just honing in on not operating out of what is just comfortable for me. And so I wanted to share just one snippet. This is just one thing that God has done over the past year that I have been away from making YouTube videos. So I recently, when was this? In November, I got into a hit and run accident, and I was on my way home from church. You know, I usually go to Publix and do my run, grocery run, and I was literally down the street from my house, and I guess she didn't see me, but I'm slowly treading to the intersection that curves off to go to my street, to another street. And I'm going slow, mind you, like, because I'm slowing down to stop and look for the traffic. And we're by a gas station. Keep that in mind. We're by a gas station. And I'm on the far right side of the road. The lady, I guess she didn't see me when she was trying to get over to my lane. I don't really know for real. And she hit the side of me. Mind you, the impact of the accident wasn't like detrimental, or I didn't get totaled. My car wasn't totaled, or I wasn't injured, thank God. It wasn't terrible. I think it was just the matter of fact that she left the scene. So, so I stop, I get out the car, and I'm like, instead of holding up traffic, right? Because the gas station right here, I'm being considerate for the traffic because this is a busy light. So I'm like, okay, we get out the car, and I'm like, what's going on? Are you like, what's up? Like, are you okay? And it's another lady, it's an older lady, and there's another lady in the car with her. And so I have a picture of my head and what she looks like, just briefly. That moment was very brief because I'm like, hey, you want to go to the gas station and pull over there? Then we can exchange insurances, right? I tell her all this as I'm outside the car. She like, oh yeah, come on, let's go. So I pull over. I'm already over there closer to the gas station, right? And so she's treading after me, supposedly. Then, so I'm in the gas station. I'm like, okay, so is she gonna come? She coming behind me. Then she passes me. And she scurries out of the gas station to the light. And the light is red. The light is red. And I'm like, I'm finna go behind her and take a picture of her plate, of her license plate, because what are you doing right now? So I took a picture of it and I called the police. Because I'm like, there was no point of you leaving the scene. First of all, I wasn't even that mad. I was like, let's just exchange, let's just get this over with, you're just gonna have to pay for my damages. And there was just like this big dent in white skirt marks because her car was white and my car. So I really wasn't, my car was drivable, and my car was old. I'm gonna be real. I had that 2012 Honda Civic. When I say it held me down, I've never been the one to be this flashy, gotta have a Tesla, gotta have this, gotta have the newest on the lot. I could care less. Like, I'm just not a materialistic person. And so I say that all to say, as she skirts off, I take a picture. The police end up coming, which took a minute. I'm in the gas station and she pulls off. She's gone. So it's just me and two police at the scene. And so I tell the police, I give them my accident report, and they're like, so she just pulled off? Like, what? I'm like, she left. Like, I don't know why she left. We was finna exchange information and go on about my day. And so I tried to depict how she looked as best as I could. But the moment was so brief when we got out the car and exchanged some words that I couldn't really give them an exact or concise description of how she looked. So I'm telling them what happened, and the police was so thorough on getting to the root, getting to the root of helping me out in the best way they could, to the point where they went into the gas station. And I didn't even come up with this. I didn't even think of this. They came up with going to the gas station people and asking if they have footage of the perimeter area, which they did, and they saw exactly what happened. It's exactly what I described to them. And so that in itself was just God, because first of all, I've been in an accident before that was worse than this, and the police didn't believe nothing I said. And I'm like, I kind of have like PTSD from that accident I had before this years ago, because it was very like traumatic. Like I had a minor neck injury, and it was just a lot with that, and that whole situation was just insane. But this goes to show you the difference between how much covering and protection you have when you living in the world and when you living for God. With that accident, my car was totaled 6 months in that I got this new car, and it was totaled. Couldn't get no new car. Insurance didn't cover nothing. It was just a whole thing. I got blamed for it. It was a whole thing. And the police didn't want to hear nothing I said, and it was just, and at that time, I wouldn't even call myself lukewarm. Trust me, I was baptized, but I was not living for the word. I was not dying to my flesh. I was not living in sanctification. I didn't even know the gospel, you know what I mean? I was just out here. So going back to this accident I had in November, for me specifically, how it went down, the intricacies of each role, how God just covered me, you know, like, so even in this moment, as I'm waiting for the police, I'm praying. I'm like, God, let your will be done, whatever the outcome is, Lord. I know you will guide me. I know you will protect me, because God's throne, the foundation of his throne is righteousness and justice, and his unfailing love and truth go before him as his attendants. And it's crazy because this old lady pulled up next to me into the pump, next to a pump, and I mean, she is frail, like she is barely walking, you know, barely has my ability to walk, and she pumping by herself, and for some reason she had a gasoline tank, you know, to fill up the gas in this gasoline bottle thing instead of putting it in her car. As I'm waiting for the police to, you know, when they take your ID and they take 5 ever to process whatever they're doing, so I'm just waiting, and it's hot, you know, I have my church clothes, you know, so I'm even hotter. And I'm seeing this lady, I'm like, oh my God, what is she doing? Why is she here by herself? And I bring this up because my heart posture, right? The renewing of my mind, how God has allowed me to not live this life for my own pleasure, even in the midst of trouble, even in the midst of inconvenience, even in the midst of a mishap, how God and the Holy Spirit works through me, being able to still serve, even in the midst of my own just trouble. And so, and I just give praise and glory to God. And so as she's like struggling to put this gas in this can, she spills it. She spills the freaking and in my head I'm like, she's finna spill this gas. And I'm like, let me just go help this lady, because she's struggling, and she's, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm still in the back of my mind, I'm praying without ceasing, because I'm like, what's gonna happen? You know, I don't know if you know, if the footage is gonna come out, if it's gonna show what it needs to show, and things like of that nature. So the lady tells me they see everything, they're gonna take care of it, and they're gonna find this lady, and she's gonna go to jail because she hit me in a rental car. She was in a rental car as she did this. And so the insurance ended up taking care of it, and I was actually able to get a new car because the value of my car was not worth the repairs, even though my car wasn't that much damage. But I think because the car value was just low, that it would have needed like special parts and just this whole thing. And so God came through. When I say he came through, I literally have my dream car. The payment that I was ended up getting allowed me to pay. I didn't have to pay no money out of pocket for my down payment for my car. Nothing. And the whole process of just getting my car was just as smooth as I've ever been through. I wasn't even in a dealership for more than like 2 hours, if that. Like, even the lady I talked to was just like, no, you need this car. This is for you. This fits. Mind you, before I got into this accident, I was already looking at cars because it's like, my car's getting older. I'm going to just save up, you know. I'm going to just manage my money to the point where I can just get a good down payment in there. That way my car payment doesn't have to be that much. God took care of all of that. When your heart is postured towards God doing his will, towards you just coming to God about everything, that's what he wants. He wants that needy relationship. He wants that, Lord, you got it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's your will, let it be done, you know? And I think when we let loose of that control over every aspect of our lives, God is going to handle all of that. He wants to hold both of your hands, not just one, both. So have that faith that surpasses. Have everything. Have that faith to the point where just let it go. I know that God is going to take care of it. I know at the end of the day, he takes care of those who love him. And when you steward things well, when you steward things without pride, without your ego, without covet, without embarrassment, when you steward things humbly and with humility and with some eagerness to know that it is a blessing, that it is a gift, whatever you have, whatever condition it may be in, God is going to bless you with more, because he's going to see that you steward things, even the smallest things, really well, to the point where he's going to even bless you with more in his timing, not your timing. Just steward what you have well. Be grateful. Live in gratitude every day. Like, and use your things see your things as a gift. 1, 2, when God blesses you with something, it's not just for you. And I had to learn that with this car too, because immediately as I got it, everybody had to use it. I'm like, dang, I can't even use my own car. But when I start to see, first of all, this isn't just for me. Like, your fruits aren't just for you. Love isn't just for you. Peace isn't just for you. You need to be exuding that for others. Gentleness isn't just for you. Faithfulness isn't just for you. It's for everyone. So when God blessed me with this car, I'm like, okay, I had to learn that it just wasn't for me. And I can share this with others. I can share this with my family. I just wanted to share that little testimony with you.